and then things go completely off the rails. So we have a good concept here. We have a really good concept here. And what are we going to do? We're going to screw it up by putting so many onerous restrictions on the business owners that nobody can live by this stuff. Munkus Park, we're not going to get any public money. Really? We know you got a lot of money from the state. And I'm finding out more and more about the public money that Munkus Park is getting. And, it's going to be a passive green space. Is it a passive green space now? No, the only thing they don't have is a carousel and a hurdy-gurdy. Everything, it's just like crazy. So this is what happens. Downtown, we want more residential downtown. Well, that's all well and good, but what else do you have? What other kind of services do you have? It's an arts and culture district. Why can't you live with that? Oh, my gosh. Go ahead, Kish. You're on the air. You're on the Ross Report. Welcome.
About time you start calling me Kish.
I know. Everybody else does, but I call you Keith. Okay.
Yeah. See, my close friends call me Kish.
I know. Okay. Stop. Go ahead.
I'm just messing with you.
What you want to talk
I just wanted to support my good buddy, Tim Metcalf. He and I are cut out of the same cloth. We're fighters, all-Americans, patriots, believe in Jesus, family. I signed this petition. I want everybody to sign this petition. And we had a conversation a few days ago about what was actually going to happen if he didn't step in. And I'm like, when do they stop? When do they stop?
They don't.
And you're right about the Democrats, and especially in our... Yeah, I got a lot of friends with Democrats, but then the elected officials of Democrats, you just soon put them on welfare because that's basically what they do. It's a welfare department, right? Government money, nothing but government money, no private enterprise, no sweat, no getting your fingernails dirty. Just put on your suit and tie, enjoy your 65-degree air condition. Build something. Don't just take.
Yeah.
But no. I'm glad Tim stepped in, and we support him 100%. I just want everybody to know that, and you know that, and everybody listening to know that. Support the effort. We got to stick together. We're builders. We build things,
That is exactly correct, and that is the one thing that I hope that the mayor-president does take to heart, that she brings people back, because we used to have this. We used to have transportation committees and development committees, GOT and GAT. I don't remember exactly what those stood for, but it included builders and developers and homeowners and people who have.
I offered my services free a year ago to be on some committees to help her steer that. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I'm not the end all, but I've been in business 49 years. I've built many places in this community, millions of square feet of stuff, educated here, had 4 kids here. I mean, I can go on and on, right? Why don't you take an offer of someone that actually knows what's going on and take the help free of charge?
Yeah.
Be on the steering committee. I'll tell you what to do and what not to do from my experience, and then you can do what you want with it.
Oh, I tell you, Keith.
You don't need yes people in there, just like we have in Baton Rouge. You don't need people saying yes just to avoid the peer pressure and, well, I don't like Keith because he doesn't agree with me. Well, okay, that's fine. I don't care if you like me. Just respect me.
I love you, but you know what? I got to get out of here. I got about a minute left, and I have to tell everybody about United Tile. That's my other good client that I got to talk about.
Great company. Great company.
I know they are.
God bless you, baby.
All right, Kish. Love you, my friend. Have a great weekend. Yeah, United Tile. I mean, what's not to love? 60 years almost in the same location because they're the best at what they do. Experienced estimators. They're going to work with you, customize solutions to fit your budget and your style. There's just nothing like it. The highest level of customer service. That's why people keep coming back. And of course, the greatest products you've ever seen. I mean, they just really keep up with everything in the home design industry. You can't do any better. United Tile Lafayette. Check them out. UnitedTileLafayette.com. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you all get involved. Check out the Facebook page. Get involved in all this. And by the way, the word is we're going to use that map. Louisiana is likely to use the congressional map that was just passed and signed into law by the governor because they don't got no choice. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's it for us this week. Come back Monday. We'll be here. I love you guys. Just drive safely, please. I want you back with us on Monday. Wear that seatbelt. It's We the People now and forever. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your very grateful host. All right, and in studio with me all by my lonesome, but I got a lot of love and support elsewhere, and I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. Man, we got such a great show to talk about today. First and foremost, let me also echo my dear friends and colleagues and teammates over here at KPEL. And by the way, we're broadcasting live on Rumble. I want to see you over there at rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. But let's echo some of those sentiments that we need to talk about tomorrow, June 6th. June 6th, 1944, D-Day. D-Day. So, man, when you're thinking about all the things we hold dear, all the things that we're able to do, all the things we're able to enjoy in this blessed, blessed country of ours, this blessed communities of ours, it was because of a collective effort, and this is definitely, when you think back, those 18, 19, 20-year-olds, when we're enjoying all that stuff, we can definitely thank them a lot. Was it 82 years ago, tomorrow, we can reflect upon a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds storming the beaches of Normandy. Some of the bullets I hear, at some of the moments of the battle, the bullets were raining down like rainwater. That's massive. Can you imagine being in that Higgins boat, just kind of hearing just the bullets and shrapnel just ricocheting off the boat? This tiny little boat built in Louisiana, designed here to be able to go all over marshlands and shallow waters. Put some armor in the front, that gate. Can you imagine being behind that gate, hearing that kind of hell and fury that's about to be unleashed? Not knowing? I've often thought about that. I think you would almost have to just go ahead and assume you're getting hit. So you just better charge like a wild banshee and hope for the best. Stick with the mission. Focus on your training. Trust your training. But easy for us to say 82 years later. It's kind of funny. Not funny, but it's kind of, I don't know how you say it. But you focus to today. Today we have a lot more positive than we do negative. But there was quite a period of time, probably like a 5-year, maybe 10-year period of time, perhaps 10 to 20 years plotting up to it, where we had these institutions indoctrinating our children. Maybe they still are trying to, but indoctrinating our children to those 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds, you think 80-something years ago, storming those beaches of Normandy. We had a situation in our country for years where we had people in leadership training and indoctrinating our 18 and 19 and 20-year-old sons and daughters to storm safe spaces, get some warm milk and cookies. I'm thankful to see that kind of mentality is leaving, or it seems like it is, which is fantastic if you ask me. Fantastic. So thank you to those brave men and women out there years ago. All right, hey, this is something my wife sent me. This she saw this on Facebook. She's been pretty active lately. Giles Nissan, man, I love it. So yes, this is a post. You can go online. Yesterday we saw what true teamwork and kindness look like at Giles Nissan Lafayette. A lady's vehicle broke down right in front of our dealership, and without hesitation, our Express Lube team and sales staff stepped outside to help her. No questions asked. Just people coming together to make sure she was safe and taken care of. Man, we're so proud of those guys over there at Giles Nissan. It's just a mentality. Just help the community, be part of the community. But go check out Giles Nissan too, man. Go tell them hello. Tell them your friend Josh and Jamie and all of our crew said hello. Giles Nissan Opelousas, Lafayette. All right, so we have, there's a lot to be said, and I think I think we'll cover some of this local stuff maybe next hour or when we open the phone lines. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll bring up. We didn't get a chance to talk about University Avenue yesterday too much, and whether you live in Lafayette, Louisiana, or not, it's pretty big highway. I think like 30,000 cars at one point were going through there daily. I could be totally wrong on that, but Pinhook was at 35, so I think that's right. Which I was amazed to see when we repaved Pinhook. And those guys, those engineers and construction workers, man, shout out to all you guys, man. They did all that at night, and that way didn't impact as many folks. But anyway, University Avenue had a lot of potential. It really did. But we'll talk more about that, and maybe it still does. Look, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. Everybody is. But we'll wait till the phone lines open, bottom half of the hour, because I really do want to hear from you. Not only that, but maybe the Bertrand stuff. Maybe, I don't know, just ask me anything local. If I don't know, I'll tell you. If I do know, I'll tell you that too. Then you can take it with a grain of salt. Man, let's go to this Graham Plattner situation. What is going on over here, okay? So Politico reports that Democrats are like National Democrats are in full-blown panic mode, it appears. Like not play, full-blown panic over Graham Plattner. We covered him the other day. You remember that? But that's their likely Democrat Senate nominee in Maine. So just let that sit in. And when we say panic, that is saying a lot if you're considering Washington. I mean, like, Washington panic is usually fake panic, but this one feels real. We'll see. The New York Times, I mean, this story, I think the story within the story is more of the story, but let's cover it. The New York Times published a report with allegations from several of Plattner's former girlfriends. One woman accused him of grabbing her hard enough to leave marks and locking her in a room. She also claimed Plattner knew his tattoo resembled a Nazi symbol when he got it. Despite him denying it, she says he knew. Now, this comes right after reports that Plattner sent explicit messages to other women while he was married. Just throwing that out there. This is what the New York Times is reporting, okay? And again, New York Times, not necessarily a beacon of conservative hood over there. Not that I recall, at least. But so here's where things stand, okay? Because it's a lot of moving targets. The Democrat running in Maine has a Nazi symbol tattoo controversy, okay? Allegations involving women. All right, they're allegations, but I'll get some more. Because it's not whether he did or not. The allegations itself and how they're being treated by certain circles, to include national elite Democrats, not your Joe Public Democrat, but allegations involving disturbing behavior. You got a sexting scandal over there. You got an old online comments where he called himself a communist. Well, I mean, just at least he's telling the truth. Then you got to speak up for that. And that's not a. And I hope Mr. I hope Mr. Plattner doesn't take that personal. I mean, if I just support you being you. If just give us the courtesy of telling us. That's why, genuinely, and you know that I just have a thing about people being disingenuous. So like rhinos, Republican in name only. It's not just that it's politics, Republican and Democrat. It is telling you something about the person's character. Like this guy did at one point tell the truth. I'm a communist. Don't get mad at him. He's just trying to tell the truth. But anyway, man, let me tell you guys, we got so much to talk about, man. When we get back, we are going to have a blast. I want everybody to stick around, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Thank you to my sidekick, my dear teammate over there, Joe Cunningham. There's a little thing you got to press on your microphone. Unbelievable. So, happy to be back with you. Shout out to my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Come join us on rumble.com, and you too can join Jenny7788, my dear friend, Angry Vulcan. Come on now. Let me see you over there. We're live today, and I can't wait. All right, so this situation in Maine, they got the Democrat establishment. Man, they're like not fake scared. They're kind of like really in a frenzy here over this Maine candidate. But are they? Let's think about it. Are they? I think they're kind of stuck. They do not know whether to condemn this guy or to straight up protect this dude, okay? I mean, you might ask, well, why so much attention? Why so much attention in Maine? Why is the National Democrat, what do they care about all that, huh? Well, because it's Maine. This is Susan Collins' seat. You got to remember that. Democrats desperately want it. They kind of quasi had it at a little, kind of, when the votes really, 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 really mattered for conservative philosophies at least, or heck, even Republican philosophies. But Democrats desperately, they want it. They don't want it part-time. They want it full-time. Okay. They think Plattner may be their very best shot. Nazi tattoo and all. Remember, it's the Democrat Party. It's a different standard. That's what we're about to get to. So now the party of believe women at all costs, no matter what accusation they say. So the party of believe women first, no matter what, has discovered footnotes. They've discovered a little context, a little nuance. You don't know. You don't understand. I think they discovered polling data. That's what I think they understood. I think they got a big dose of that. It's amazing how fast moral certainty disappears when a Senate seat is on the line. Then, check this out, okay? Then, Lindsay Fifield, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this lady's name right, but this is, we'll call her Lindsay. Lindsay is one of Plattner's ex-girlfriends, and she criticized the New York Times. So the New York Times came out and published all this, and I know it was probably a little hard on them. I mean, they're going against one of their own, a Northeastern Democrat in the Senate. I wonder if how many times, I'm just asking, how many times do you think the New York Times called Trump a Nazi? I'm just asking. I don't know the answer. I don't have enough arms on me right now to go Google that or whatever. Could somebody tell me, how many times did they call Republicans fascists and all that good stuff, huh? I'm just confused. That's all. Well, anyway, the New York Times, reported that. And she said, and I'm just saying, why not this guy? And they're defending this dude. They're covering for this guy with an actual Nazi tattoo. But his ex-girlfriend, Lindsay, she said that the New York Times, actually softened her allegations. She said that they left out corroborating sources. She said that they failed to include screenshots and other evidence she says that she gave the New York Times. So, think about that, my dear friends. Think about that. An accuser is saying the New York Times went too easy on a Democrat? Shocker. That is wild. If anybody, that is like a referee wearing the home team jersey and still getting booed by the home crowd. It just doesn't make sense. And then there's our friend, you should Google this, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. What a name. Sheldon comes from Rhode Island, representing the great people of Rhode Island. Well, Whitehouse's leadership pack gave Plattner $10,000 in his campaign, I'm assuming. He has praised Plattner as having a wonderful, wonderfully appealing story. Does that include the Nazi tattoo? Does Senator Whitehouse know that? He might have been busy. He might have been legislating. He might have been arguing against funding for ICE. These are important things for him. But after reading that last allegation, though, Whitehouse reportedly, and this is not the Whitehouse, Senator Whitehouse from Rhode Island, reportedly said it seemed like a lot of nothing. Hey, and guess what? It may be. I don't know, I'm not saying the guy did all those things that they're saying he did. They're just allegations. I understand that. That's not the point. The point is, this same guy, where were you when I'm with her? Y'all remember that? Hashtag I'm with her or believe her. No matter what. Chuck Schumer and all those guys saying, well, you got to start off with believing them. Yeah, okay. Well, they can say that. Democrats can say that. Because look what this dude said, Senator Sheldon. Oh, it's just a lot of nothing. Oh, no problem. No problem. Again, I just want you to Google this dude. This is the same Sheldon Whitehouse who practically needed a fainting couch during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. It's wide open. It's out there. This is the same guy who grilled Kavanaugh over high school slang like America's future depended on a yearbook glossary. But now, a Democrat with these same allegations. Jeez, a lot of nothing. It's a lot of nothing from Senator Whitehouse. That's only if you Republican. If women deserve to be heard, they deserve to be heard. Absolutely, yes. If character matters for a Republican nominee, character should matter for, a Democrat Senate nominee too, or a candidate. Who can argue with that? The standard cannot be believe women unless the Senate map is tight. Can't be that. I didn't see that footnote in the hold on. I got to go get my woke playbook again. Let me see here. The DNC playbook, was that like 2015, 17, something like that, 18? Yeah, 17, 18. We got to see what the slang was. Did they have any footnotes in the DNC playbook on I'm with her, hashtag I'm with her? I didn't think so. Democrats at the time, leaders in that party, they do what they do, boy. Them and rhinos, they create a political culture where accusations are weapons when aimed at true Republicans, but inconveniences when aimed at Democrats and rhinos. A whole bunch of nothing. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here in Minnesota. Nothing to see here in L.A. What you doing? Nothing to see here on University Avenue. I'm just saying. I was just throwing it out there. Just saying. Come in peace. Now, these same folks, though, see, here's the problem with that web that they spun. Those guys are now in a much different situation. They're now trapped, if you really think about it, they're now trapped inside their own machine. Plattner may still win the nomination. He probably will, okay? Nazi tattoo and all. He may still face Susan Collins, which is they might be going over after the same votes. I don't know. Maybe Democrats decide the seat matters more than the scandal. And maybe it's not a scandal. I'm not even opining on those allegations. One thing we do know is he has a Nazi tattoo. And now apparently he has openly admitted, according to one person, his ex-girlfriend, Lindsay, that he at least identified as a communist at one point. Maybe he outgrew it. I'm sure if You go back to things we've said 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm sure there's some things where we would have liked to have grace. Communism, though, whew, I actually, you know what? I actually would like nuance on that. I actually would like context on that. Can he provide that? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'd love to hear your explanation on why you identify as a communist. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, look, man, stick around when we get back. It's going to be a blast, and we got so much more to talk about. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasted live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, shout out to my friends over there at Stan's Auto. Stan's Auto, always coming in handy, man. You got all your automobile needs. Go visit my friends over there at Stan's Auto. 2 locations, one here in Lafayette off of Johnson Street, servicing the great folks over here, and also servicing the great folks of New Iberia and the surrounding areas in or right off of Admiral Doyle. Think of the old J.P. Thibodeau building. Go visit my friends over there at Stan's Auto. Certainly appreciate those guys. Man, all right, so the phone lines are open, 232-1542, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. I want to hear from you. So we got a whole bunch of stuff. We could talk local today if you guys like. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly will tell you what I know. And I do have the benefit of being, I have some knowledge on these projects that folks are complaining of. And I get it. Hey, I'm rooting for the home team. I hope that that it all works out. I really do. I think that those things can be really great projects. But you can't. I don't know how else to say it. There's a reason why those 2 things didn't happen in my administration. It's not I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying it's a different way of thinking. There's a lot of folks that love this like road diet thing. They love bringing 4 lanes into 2 lanes. Okay, that's a difference of opinion. I remember being asked when I ran for mayor president in 2019, one of those surveys. They send all those surveys, which they're cool. Get the way to understand the candidates a little more. That's great. All right, but I remember one of the questions that always stood out to me: what are roads for? My answer was pretty simple: for cars to drive on. I mean, I forgot what organization that was. I wish I knew. I kind of probably can guess. But yeah, it's very simple. Roads are there to move cars. I also love bike lanes and I love walkability. What we got to remember is you can do both at the same time. You don't have to sacrifice common sense on a road that has 30,000 cars on it every day. And there is this thing called sequence of construction. There's a lot to be said about doing projects at night. There's a lot to be said about planning these things out a little bit more. And, sometimes you got to measure things like the width of a lane. And does it make sense? I'm just saying some thoughts that I'm hearing around town. Okay. But one thing I will say, when it comes to University Avenue, and if you haven't driven the University Avenue corridor project, it has good intentions. And maybe one day it'll look great. It's not a hard project. I don't know why. I don't know why it looks the way it looks. I don't know. Just the best way I can say it. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to find the right words to not sound like I'm throwing shade. But really, it looks like a hot mess. And if you go down there, you can see why the residents are just done. You could see why the businesses are just done with that and done with that mentality. But this is the only project that our current mayor president has had her thumb on from beginning to now. This is the only one. So like all those ribbons you see cutting, that started in the previous administration. Kudos to a lot of folks that worked hard. They're wonderful people working hard. Just like when I got in, I cut the ribbon on the animal shelter, but that was all Joel Robideau. The Four Corners project, I cut the ribbon on that, but that was all Joel and teams. That was, and we could debate on how we got there, and I was in that debate. But once it was going forward, we wrap our arms around the wins. But regardless, so this is probably the only project that our current mayor president does know about and knows like ins and outs. So it is a fair question. It is a fair question to say, why are you pausing 3 years into your administration? You can't get mad at folks for asking that. I think it's great to have public input. You should, and you should have it often. All right. But why, you're just pausing that now in the middle of a chaos? It just you can see why folks are getting a little upset. Okay, now the Bertrand stuff, we talked about that yesterday. My good friend Tim Metcalf was in, and he was able to give us some insight from someone in that area. And when you hear of beautification projects, there's a difference between, I'm telling you guys, there's all these buzzwords. Just think of me as your translator. Beautification and revitalization are different. We should be beautifying the whole city and parish. We should be working with these municipalities. Man, our 5 municipalities outside of Lafayette are doing some amazing things. Kudos to the mayors and the councils, the fire chiefs, police chiefs, all those elected folks, man. Seems like they're in sync with each other. That's really good. That's good. Synergy. But we should be beautifying everything. Start with the potholes, panhandlers, the grass in the doggone medians. It just drives me crazy. It's all easy stuff. But there's a difference between beautification and revitalization. Revitalization, you think of blighted property. You think of property that just nobody can do anything with. Think about a brownfield that's like something, a vacant lot that's like after a gas station, you just polluted, contaminated, and you got to do a whole bunch of stuff before it's safe. So they say. I'm kidding. But there's a difference between that. You want to revitalize. You want to invest. Now, if you invest too much, they're going to call it gentrification. But that's okay. It's okay. Do good anyway, as Mother Teresa, Saint Mother Teresa would say. Do good anyway. They may say all these things. Do good anyway. Do your best anyway. But revitalization, man, one of the most vitalized parts of the parish is Bertrand Drive. And it ain't because of government. It's because of those private sector folks, those small business employers. They understand what a profit margin is because that's how they live. So when you make it harder for people to live, I don't think you're revitalizing. I think we came up with a different word yesterday. Is it unvitalizing? We're going to unvitalize Bertrand? Is that de-revitalize? What's the opposite of revitalization? Oh, by the way, I have to say this on air. I hope she's listening. I really do. So I did run into the MP's, the mayor president's chief of staff. She is a nice lady, and she reminded me she's a Republican. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll give you the benefit. You ain't at the top, so I get it. You're just trying to do your job. But I hear nice things about her. I really do. So, and I've had nothing but nice experiences. But you don't always know what the culture you're walking into. All right, guys. So, look, we're going to take us a tiny little break. When we get back, man, we're going to have some fun. We got so much to talk about. I'm going to keep those phone lines open, my little quiet folks. 232-1542. Let me hear from you. I cannot wait. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Shout out to my friend Keith Kishbach over there at Kishbach Construction, man, for all your construction needs. I want you to go check out my friend over there at Kishbach Construction. Been around for a hot minute. Very busy guy over there in the community, and we certainly appreciate him, certainly appreciate you guys. All right, we're broadcasting live on Rumble. Let me see you over there at rumble.com, like Rumble in the Jungle, and I certainly can't wait to see you there. Okay, phone lines are open, 232-1542. Let's see here. Hopefully I don't hang up on you, caller. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where you calling
Hey, Josh,
from?
how's it going?
Hey, it's good. What's going on, brother? What you got today? Oh, I can hear you, then I can't. Caller, are you there?
Afternoon, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Go ahead, caller. All right. Had a little technical difficulties, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure out that. It's operator error, 100%. I am quite confident of it. So just stay on hold a little bit there, caller. I apologize. I can't wait to hear from you. So, you know, we got a lot of things to move on about. We got about 6 minutes left in this segment. Next hour, we're gonna jump into the ICE funding for sure. But I do want to talk about some other funding, something to watch for. A lot of things that used to not fly under the radar. We'll see this year. We'll see. And that is the local budget. So local Lafayette Consolidated Government budget will be coming out, LCG, pretty soon. So we'll see. Shout out Beans-O-Matic. I see you out there. Appreciate that. And, so we'll see. If you ever want to know where the priorities of an administration are, that's in the budget. So right now, if we talk more about it, hopefully we'll motivate them. Come on. Keep saying infrastructure, one-time capital funding, not recurring expenses. If we all say it loud enough, I'm telling you, in the parish of Lafayette, if we all say it loud enough in unison, limit recurring expenses, one-time capital projects that help people. I'm telling you, if we say it loud enough, maybe we could put enough pressure that we get good conservative government. Just because you can grow it don't mean you should. So we'll see. All right. I'm going to start with this topic. We'll probably, we're going to carry that over to next hour. So the Senate is discussing ICE funding no more. They've passed something, man. That's what I'm saying. Look at these guys legislating. The Senate, part of this is going to frustrate you, though, if you've been covering this. But I'm going to focus on the good. We're going to focus on the good. There's much more good out there than there is bad, despite what folks may say. Not most folks. All right, so the Senate voted earlier this morning to pass a $69.5 billion immigration enforcement funding package. The vote was 52 to 47 Republican. The money funds immigration, ICE basically, and Border Patrol through 2029. So that's great. Only one Republican voted no. Now, there's only a few you could choose from now. If you're playing a game like, who's that rhino? Something like that, just pick. You got a handful. I'll give you a few more seconds. Starts with an L, rhymes with Misa. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. Oh, yeah. Man, you got a whole bunch of border around there. You got Russia. You can see Russia through your backyard. Murkowski said she was concerned about using budget reconciliation to fund federal agencies for 3 years instead of using the regular appropriations process. Well, the one thing that did stand out was 3 years. Usually they spend things like in 3 months, 3-month increments, little omnibus, and now mini buses. Jeez, when you got that much time on your hand in Washington, jeez. I'm telling you, though, I would kind of want to pay him just to stay home. Just like only show up for 2 months. Limit the federal government. All right. But she says that she was concerned about blowing up the filibuster. So basically, just stalemate. She wants stalemate. Hey, when the filibuster was used rarely and when grown-ups were in charge on both sides, then yeah, that's a wonderful balancing act that we had during Cold War times, post-World War II era. Yep, got it. Understood. But that, they need to understand, is not constitutional law. It's not even statutory law. It is their own rules. So, again, just like here, local, we can have some disagreements with the folks in charge. We just have a disagreement with Miss Murkowski. She wants things apparently to stay gridlocked and nothing to get through, and just unless the Democrats are in. And they understand too. They're wise about this. Okay, they're smart about this. They know they would only use that nuclear option for legislation, not nominees, but for legislation, if they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Otherwise, you're kind of blowing it up and you're not getting anything in return, and then you look bad. So that's something to think about. But that is that whole reconciliation. I mean, we've been saying that for quite some time. Even Senator Kennedy months ago said that. A lot of us said that. She didn't like the vehicle, she said. She likes where it's going, just didn't like the vehicle. I'm paraphrasing. But the bigger story is this. Man, after months of fighting, I'm talking months of fighting, Democrat leadership tried to block funding for ICE, block funding for Border Patrol. Republicans simply found another route. Our frustration here is why so long, but doggone it, we're gonna be thankful for that. Very thankful for their efforts. But we are talking about real money. That's something that maybe they don't realize. Just something to think about. But something else to think about is, while they're talking about funds, I think I'd like the Congress to actually pass a budget. I'm talking about a real budget. We just talked about a local budget. See, local governments have to do that every year. Wouldn't it be cool if the federal government did that? I think there's a call in the Constitution for that. But anyway, guys, look, we'll be right back. I can't wait. Let's have a blast. Hour number 2 right around the corner. Thank you, Joe. What up, my Rumble folks? Man, I certainly appreciate you guys sticking around. I really don't know if I was on air or off air on Rumble that last segment. Because when I went back to toggle to say coming back soon, yeah, I kind of was on coming back soon. So if you missed me over there, I missed you more importantly. I am so sorry. But if I am just not knowing what I'm talking about right now, and I was, and you did see me, well, disregard. But hey, that's some wild stuff that we're talking about, though. I mean, you got the Maine Democrat over there in Maine with the Nazi tattoo. You got the doggone ICE situation funding Border Patrol for 3 years now. That's good. That's real good. But yeah, Lisa Murkowski at least staying true to Rhino Forum, and here we go. I mean, Susan Collins might have to compete with some of those votes over there in Maine, some of those Democrat votes in Maine. I don't know. But guys, I just want to say hello, man. We'll be right back. Hour number 2 is going to be hot. Don't go anywhere. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Off there. But welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. Still broadcasting live on rumble.com. I want to see you over there. Also broadcasting live from the KPEL Studios. Oh, there we go. The KPEL Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We certainly appreciate you guys. Shout out to my friends over there at Giles Nissan. Man, Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette for all the deals. Check them out. They always got deals going on over there. So not only does Giles Nissan have a wide variety, it also has a great service team, man. Service team that just always, I read you an example of those guys being out in the community, helping a nice lady. Her car broke down. They ended up helping her out, not asked, and just, we have examples of that in Acadiana all over. I bet it's all over our country. Our folks, where's my boy over there from Indiana? Always opining, which I love, appreciate it, Angry Vulcan. But you can get me live on that chat, too. I want to see you over there, rumble.com. And, hey, I'm going to open up those phone lines. Caller that called earlier, I'm so sorry. There was a little button that I should have been pressing so that you could have heard me. So I'm so sorry. Guess what? We open them up the whole hour. If you call now, look, I might not see it. I'm going to look to my left and see if I see that because my other monitors are off. But, yeah, give us a call, man. We talked about some local stuff. We talked about Bertrand. We talked about, the impact it seems to be having on local businesses and local residents. And something's not adding up. You don't revitalize a part that is already just thriving. So you don't want to do that. If it's beautification, well, absolutely. We love beautification. Do it wisely. One-time capital expenditures that do not have a big old burden on maintenance costs or human resource costs. You buy, that's why, crepe myrtles, for example. I love crepe myrtles. But if you don't go and prune them at the bottom, they don't look too great. They just looks like, it tells visitors that we don't care about our place when we don't trim the trees. I know it sounds silly, but that's what CEOs kind of look for when they're trying to invest in a community. They want to see that it's safe. They want to see that the infrastructure's there. They want to see the local government is not just growing and just fluffity fluff because you can't build anything when you have that. And communities that stop building things are communities that die. And you could debate on what you need to build. You can debate on, and what I mean by build is infrastructure. It's not always exciting. I get it. Nobody loves flowers more than me. It's true. But we also have to prioritize. If everything's a priority, nothing is a priority. If everything's important, nothing is important. And you got to be able to see those things through. But I'm just curious. A lot of folks are curious. Why pause now? Because Bertrand Drive, I'm telling y'all, I am telling you, I was in office. Bertrand was being designed while I was in office. And I kept pushing back on those doggone 2 lanes, and I wanted the bike lane, but not the way that it's being designed now. And that's probably why I didn't start, because I don't think we had any problems starting projects. We shrunk government so we could focus on building things. But anyway, neither here nor there. But there is a lot more facts to that project that's not in the public. Never thought it would need to be, if you think about it. I mean, who does that? But regardless, I'm very, very much proud of the local small business owners for dedicating their time to be able to communicate or try to communicate and voice their opinions, because these are the guys and gals that are employing our economy. Part of it, that local economy. You always talk about diversification. There's a lot of diversity on that. I was going to call it a strip, but I'm told not to call it that. But you guys, y'all don't need me to tell you about Bertrand. And then the University Avenue corridor, look, no one is in a better position to know the facts than the current mayor-president. This is the only project that she has that literally started with her and that she will see it through. That's through the Acadiana Planning Commission. This is one. Remember, it's a state highway, Highway 182. You got some local input. And if you tell them to go down the 2 lanes, just saying. But regardless, there's plenty of folks that will argue against me, and that's okay. So we can have differing thoughts. That's all right. It's wonderful. But one thing is, really, really hurting some folks over there on the university side. It's not just that people get off of I-10 and don't want to go through that war zone for 3 or 4 years now. I mean, it's or gonna be, and there's a better way of doing that. Proper planning prevents poor performance. There's another P in there for you military folks, but I kept it clean. And you got to plan these things out. And there's plenty of smart people over there to do that. So let's continue to voice our thoughts in a loving and peaceful way. But I'm telling you, if we all collectively in this great parish of Lafayette would just say one-time capital projects, just over and over, no more recurring wasteful spending, you might be amazed on what we can do. Because I'm telling you, they'll cave. They'll cave to public pressure. There's no backbone over there. And that sounds like I'm throwing some real again, throwing some shade. I'm not. That's a true statement, because that group or that candidate, that our mayor president ran on no platform. So when you come in on no tangible things that you're going to do, just kind of like the Democrats, orange man bad. It don't matter what Trump does. Trump he could, like you said, cure cancer and they'd still criticize him. All right. But look where it's getting the Democrats. So I get it. It's easy to deceive folks. But once you're in the government and you're governing, that's when it's different. That's when, man, the rubber hits the road and you actually have to make decisions and you got to plan these things out and you got a lot of folks you got to work with. This is a wonderful community. We got 250,000 folks in Lafayette Parish. We got 6 wonderful municipalities. We got the unincorporated area that's starting to really, really have some opportunity. We'll see where it goes. I love the communication I'm seeing between the parish municipalities. They seem to be on the same track, but our parish is stronger when we're together, and I hope that we keep finding ways to do that. But this university thing, tell me your thoughts, 232-1542. I'm going to move on to some other topics here. But also, look, that budget's coming out. So pray for our mayor president, pray for her administration, the councils, all these folks that are about to really, really make some decisions, and, we'll follow it and all the things. So let's go back to this ICE funding, huh? Why is this even a debate? You know what I mean? Why are we even debating this? Why is this even a thing? I never really understand. I mean, you can talk about all the things that you want. You really can. But they don't mean anything. They don't mean a single thing if your borders aren't protected. They don't mean a single thing if we have to constantly worry if we're under a fentanyl attack. I mean, it is unbelievable. Some of the thought-making process. Is there a decision-making process? That's the thing. Or is it just orange man bad? So whatever Trump, he's a Republican, whatever Trump says, we're going against. But the National Democrat leadership, again, they tried to block all this stuff. We're talking about real money. We're not talking about bumper stickers. This is not, I'll move on. That is a fuel, though. I'll tell you this. All what we're talking about is kind of like a fuel in the tank for border enforcement through the rest of President Trump's second term. Funding it through 2029 was no accident. That was no accident. And I think it dips into the next term, too. I could be wrong on that. Now, Senate Majority Leader Thune, after he waded through the Democrats, says, I'm in charge. Well, I'm in charge. See, they call me leader. He said the bill is simple. No joke. It was simple 5 months ago. It funds Border Patrol and ICE for 3 years. That's his comments. What I have some comments is, why did you, leader, let the minority leadership go negotiate with Trump, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just, where were you? And this whole funding was delayed. And we had to see this is what happens when they play these games, okay? When they play these games, kind of like with the congressional map sometimes, okay? You just further divide our country. That's all you do. And I keep saying it, it is not a fair burden for Republicans to carry. It's really not. But if we dip down and act like those guys, then, well, it's just we lose the country. But I got a lot more on that. I'm just running out of time. Guys, when we get back, we're going to continue this little topic. I'm going to wrap a bow on it, and we shall return. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Broadcasting live on rumble.com. Let me see you over there. Got some chatters going on. We appreciate that. Hey, phone lines are open. We're going to keep them open the rest of the show. 232-5042, 844-766-6607. We are live. I think I'm pressing all the buttons. Let's see here. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Josh this is Rob from Youngsville. How are you?
I'm good, Rob. What's happening, brother? What you got today?
You know, I always find it interesting whenever these little big picture plans start to fall apart in Lafayette. You know where infrastructure improvements and roadways never seem to fall apart? I don't know. Karen Crow, Scott, Youngsville, Broussard. You know, Ken's doing a fantastic job. We're moving forward faster than anybody's ever seen. Ray Bork's doing a great job in Broussard. Look at Charlotte out in Karen Crow. Why? It's because they actually listen to their constituents. They don't sit themselves in an office, tell themselves, we're the coolest people in the room.
Well, I think that's an observation a lot of folks are sharing with you. Man, tell my folks over there in Youngsville where life is sweeter I said hello. I love when you call in, man. Thank you so much. All right. So, man, a lot to say there. I always appreciate him when he calls in. And everybody, all our callers, 232-1542. All right. So, let's see here. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Renee Bayona.
All right, Renee. No cuss words. What's up, my boy?
Yeah, my phone was acting up. You know, that plant obsolescence that make capitalism great money. I love capitalism now, but I want good products, not from China.
I'm hearing you.
Hey.
What you got, Renee?
Hey, I want to say America and Japan have things in common and things not in common. Lots of America's problems stems from what Japan and America had in common.
All right.
You know, after Japan was all beat up, they had a big communist insurgency cell that the Russians or somebody tried to put in there. But they had on their books something like their version of the Communist Control Act, and they activated it. And they don't have all the problems we have now from academia, politicians, and you have a dumbhead Mondami in New York, and you have all these communist Kool-Aid drinking politicians that's trying to take over America. They even want to control Donald Trump's position to activate warfare. You know, can you imagine if the Senate goes along with that Kool-Aid and the president needs to react to an invasion or attack from, I don't know, Mexico is our friend now, but if the drug lords take over, we could have something like Patrovia. I mean, China comes over or somebody. The president can't activate the military for a long enough time. Congress won't do it because it's too stupid. They've always been stupid, especially now.
All right, Renee, I appreciate you, brother. A lot of people shaking your head on that, man. Thank you so much. If you're on hold, we're coming right back to you, caller. Just be a little tiny patient. Let me talk a little bit about try to hit both those callers, man. That was great. First with the municipality mayors, the caller was so spot on. I mean, look, you got Mayor Charlotte over there in Karen Crow. You got Mayor Johnny Thibodeau in Dusson. You got Mayor Bork in Broussard. You got Mayor Richard in Scott. You got Mayor Ritter in Youngsville. And I'm going to tell you, there is a common denominator. And the caller nailed it. They listen to their constituents, but they're humble. They have humility. And I will tell you that I learned so much going in there. Glenn was the mayor. Glenn Brasso was the mayor of Karen Cross. The only difference on that team when I got in, and let me tell you, going through COVID, going through civil unrest in the parish, going through, honestly, some financial issues that needed to be addressed, and they were revitalizing Parks and Rec, for example, and making sure our parks in the parish and the city are both are thriving. One of those was make sure the city money wasn't spent outside the city, which I think is an important thing. Can't believe that went on that long. But regardless, not here to fuss. I'm here to agree that these 5 mayors, and they work together. You know, you want a great example? Youngsville Highway, Youngsville Broussard Highway. I don't know if they're renaming it. But that is a project that is fantastic. two mayors working together. I was able to I told them, I said, thank y'all for letting me tag along for a little bit because they were doing the heavy lifting. But you got some opportunities in this parish to really, really connect even more and open up those local economies. I'd love to see a highway from I say highway, maybe a by, what do they call it, byway? A path from, a really good corridor from Youngsville and Scott. We had some plans for that just at the beginning phases, so maybe they'll dust them off, and I don't care if they take credit. It's a great project. Do it. Do it. You got $100 million more than the last guy. You can do it. Some opportunities. When we're talking about budget, you guys look at the relationship between LCG and the municipalities. I'm real eager to see things like projects like Garber Road, for example, that's becoming a busier and busier corridor out there to the eastern part of our parish. And, it's going to take some cooperation with the parish government and the municipalities. It's a real weird setup between City of Lafayette, unincorporated areas, City of Broussard. I think there's some more chopped up places. Basically like a congressional district map these days. Oh, my goodness. And I forgot, doggone Renee was making a point. Oh, the war powers and things like that. Yeah, man, this is not new I will say this is not new to Trump and this Congress, for Congress to try to limit the president's war powers authority. You got the War Powers Act, but anytime the president acts, especially unilaterally pretty much, although he let the big eight or whatever they are in Congress, he let them know about the Iran strikes. None of them balked on it, Democrat and Republican. So it's all political gains. Let's see here. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. Thanks for being patient. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
LT.
What's up, Mr. Bobby? I was waiting for you to call. What you got today?
I haven't owned any property in Lafayette since 1983. I'm sorry those other cities are stuck in Lafayette Parish. Number two, this guy in New York, what's his name? Downey? What's his name?
Oh, gosh. Zoran Mondowney.
Yeah. This communist socialist, I'm going to make a prediction. He's going to fall through the cracks and bite the dust.
Whoa.
Write that down today.
Woo.
Huh?
Man, that's extreme. That's tough. You think, like, bite the dust? Like...
Yeah, but it's coming from, well, I better not say who it's coming from. Somebody might be listening that don't like us. Yeah, the thing about Bertrand Drive, if I had a business, I know what I'd do, because Legends is right. You're going to disrupt all those businesses, and they're going to lose their customers because the customers don't want to go fight all that crap.
No.
I'm out.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Bobby. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty... Here, look, trying to give folks the benefit of the doubt here. I just happen to know that project, and I know that it doesn't have to look like that, and I know the sequence of events, the sequence of construction doesn't have to be like that because I know I saw it. And the reason why it didn't start in my administration is because they kept pushing that kind of stuff. I just wasn't comfortable with it. The neighborhoods weren't comfortable with it. The business owners weren't comfortable with it. And you could see why. And I kept hearing the same old thing, revitalization, I got some places you want to revitalize. Look, take it for what it's worth, but you got some gateway areas that can really leave some. I'm not saying just because they're gateways. I'm talking about the north side, the folks that you told that's where you campaigned at. Hadn't done anything for them, but got their vote. Well, no, you did. You did cut their park in half. That's true. Anyway, I am happy to see that Moore Park. That was a great that was a fun project to be a part of. So if you play soccer, man, I'm just so happy folks are using that out there. I drove by it the other day. It just kind of reminded me. But yeah, man. So let's go into something else here. When we get back, we're going to wrap up on that ICE funding a little bit. But the Senate was involved in some other funding, some other little tiffs. Talk about some little fights on Capitol Hill. If y'all want, you can go there. We'll keep those phone lines open too. But before we break, man, make sure you take a little moment today, or definitely tomorrow, to reflect, to pray for the souls of those who lost their lives on D-Day and all our troops. But look, D-Day, man, storming Normandy like that, 17, 18, 19 years old. I'm sure I think there's some folks recorded younger than that. Folks were lying to get in, wanting to serve their country. Hey, that American spirit's still here, though. I don't want anybody to believe that that's not here. It's here. We see it in different ways. We haven't lost it. It's kind of getting close. It's kind of getting close. We were just like emasculating men. Like it was like almost like a sin to be a man. And if you're a straight white male Republican conservative, you are pretty much one of those tattoos on that Democrat candidate. But anywho, thank a trooper, but especially pray for the souls of those who were willing to die and did die to protect all that we hold dear in this great, great land we call home. All right, guys, when we get back, man, we're going to have a blast. I'm telling you, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the KPEL Studios in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're live on rumble.com. I want to see you over there in that chat. And shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. We certainly appreciate you guys. We're going to keep those phone lines open. I appreciate the callers last segment, 232-1542, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. Go visit my friends over there at Dino's Pizza, man. 3 locations. Bertrand, we like to keep it there. One in Broussard, off right by Morgan Street, and then right off the highway in Henderson. 3 great locations. 3 great locations. Great folks over there. Now I'm getting hungry, but it's Friday. I ain't getting no salad. Either Friday or Saturday, I'm going to get that pizza from Dino's. Although the salads are great. Salads are great. They're great. Hey, one other thing on this Bertrand project that I wasn't covering. It just kind of slipped my mind. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is, and this is what big government people will do. So you like Bloomberg. This is a Bloomberg government right here, okay? This is perfect example. They go in there with these overlay districts. Anybody ever heard of an overlay district before we started talking about it, or before the local folks started talking about it, or Bertrand? Maybe some of you guys. I didn't know about it till I ran for mayor president. Then I was very educated. And I was painted such a great picture by all these very, very entrenched folks. It was just peachy as can be. And then I just started asking a few questions, and we didn't see eye to eye. That's all right. Now, these overlay districts, though, let me tell you about them. Overlay districts are like governments within the government. These overlay districts, it is very, very hard to change. Well, maybe maybe it's not hard to change. Just do they have the willpower? But it's what you can do in there. You can invoke regulations. There's plenty of districts that are used for taxing. Remember those? Carol calls them STDs. Remember those special taxing districts? Well, that's a thing. Okay, those were created just like this overlay district would be created. That nobody gets to vote on this stuff except those that, all she'd have to do is convince 3 council members or threaten the heck out of them. I don't know. I heard that's some of the MO. Everybody has a leadership style. It's all good. Rooting for them. But these overlay districts can be very burdensome. So we're already asking our small business employers, I think, to do a lot to help fund our government, to help fund folks by paying them, by doing a whole bunch of great things for our economy and our community that government can't do. Beams-O-Matic on Rumble says, overlay districts sound like a vision of the anointed. That is well said. And look, there may be an overlay district. For example, you put an overlay, I'm just making this up. Put an overlay district around I-10 and I-49 on areas that has no impact on business. Now, I don't know if that's even possible. But I'm just saying, where nobody's there. Or go find a disinvested area. See, President Trump had the best plan on this with low-income areas that needed some real revitalization, and they're called opportunity zones. They were called opportunity zones. And that was investment. That was common sense. That was putting the economy back in action and revitalizing areas that were blighted, that nobody wanted to do it, no one had anything to do with it. Some of it was brownfield. Some of it was just getting it back into commerce, getting it back and helping people. But also investment in those zones. That makes sense. An overlay district is look, and they're so behind the scenes, and that's when the few people get to make decisions for the masses. This is just not the way to do it. If you want beautification, go do beautification projects. There was plenty of money there. I'm telling y'all, there was plenty of money in the budget to go do it. I don't know what we did, but that's a very important area of our parish, and I think a lot of folks know that. But the reason why, I will tell you personally, the reason why I am spending so much time on, I know everybody else has their motivations, I don't want this to continue. I don't like this mentality. I don't like that form of government where you just make these decisions and they're not even decisions that make sense. I mean, you're not talking about like a real life and death or real like dire need like a drainage project or something that you understand folks are just going to get upset, but I mean, it ain't taking anybody's livelihood. And it ain't taking anybody, it's not disrupting people's life. It's actually helping them. And there's objective data to show that. But this right here, revitalize, it sounds like to me, y'all are wanting to control and you're putting a cloak around it, calling it beautification. And then you try to throw one of them big tent words, revitalization. I'm just saying. So I just don't want this kind of mentality to spread, because if it can happen in Bertrand, then it can happen in, don't give this, look, power with ego is dangerous. Just saying. So, but truth is truth. Ego don't like ego. So you just put a mirror in there, mirror in front of them, and you put a mirror in front of them by speaking truth on these things, and work through your local leaders. Like Tim's a local leader, and Jared and all those guys, and they've taken it upon themselves to voice concerns, not just from them, for them and their vantage point, but this is local government. This is why we say limit the state power, limit the federal power for sure, because the real issues are impacting folks on the local level. So when you have these things that creep in, like this overlay stuff, most overlay districts you should really, 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 really pay attention. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm sure there's some good examples. I'm just looking for one. And why do we always have to do this? Like, why, like before, I mean, we didn't do it for 4 years, but why do we have a few people that just think they know more than everybody else? You ever notice that? Before it was the special taxing districts, the STDs. Okay. You know what happened there? They carved out districts so that voters weren't in it, and because voters weren't in it, they were able to pass it. And then passed a tax. Very Republican. Very Republican. Turns out all you had to do, like downtown, I could understand why them downtown folks were fed up. There was only like $19 million invested in downtown. That's not a lot over a 10-year period when you're talking about infrastructure. And they wonder why they flooded. Not the downtown folks. They knew. They're like, we know. Poor Pops Po' Boy. Jeez, every time it would rain, you could watch Facebook just to see the report, just to see what's going on. Oh my goodness! But look, and I have those phone lines. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm gonna take a little break. You stay on hold. I'm telling you, I am coming right back to you. I promise you. But I definitely want to see you out there on the Rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. Let me see you on that chat. We'll be right back, guys. Don't you go anywhere. Be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go visit my friends over there at Stacy St. Marie at St. Marie Orthodontics. St. Marie Orthodontics. A lot of you folks have used Dr. Stacy St. Marie and his crew over the years, probably maybe multiple generations even. Look, I'm telling you, their crew, just the bedside manner, you can't even say enough about it. But I trust them with some of my most prized possessions, and I'm sure a lot of you folks have too. But one thing interesting, hey, adults or even teenagers, see if you qualify for that invisible liner that they got going on. You know, technology is so advanced now, and Dr. St. Marie over there at St. Marie Orthodontics, he's got this cutting edge technology. Got a new dentist joined his crew too, man. So go check her out. She's wonderful, and you know what you're getting over there. So go visit St. Marie Orthodontics. If you got any questions on braces or anything about orthodontics, just give them a call. St. Marie Orthodontics here in Lafayette, Louisiana. My patient callers, some of you guys call right back. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Sean.
What's up, Sean? Bring some wisdom, baby.
Well, I wish that Trump was the dictator that the left makes him out to be, because it'd be a lot easier to get stuff done. But anyway, he plays by the rules. And he wins too. So, he's gotten out, the Thomas Masseys who vote no on everything. I understand you're principled and everything, but you got to look at the bigger picture, man. You want to talk about funding the border and everything? He votes no on everything. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene. She shagged butt and got out. She made her millions, is out. You got Cornyn. Cornyn was stopping the SAVE Act. Let's get that done. Now, it looks like with redistricting, a lot of these, I'm sorry, but thank you, Jeff Landry. We appreciate what you did. So I'll just say that. And, we could actually hold the Senate and the House and actually make a bigger gap between us and the Democrats,
yes,
and get some stuff done. And I wish he'd go scorched earth. Because what I'm seeing now is Republicans not caring if you call us racist or Nazis or homophobic or Islamophobic. It doesn't matter. That doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So you're going to see some Democrats with some patches in their hair because they're going to be pulling their hair out because it doesn't work anymore.
You ain't kidding. Sean, they so desensitized all of those words. I mean, threw water on every single one of those were racist, fascist. I mean, calling people Hitler because they're Republican. If you knew history and you look at the actions between the Democrat Party and the parallels between their mindset, and I'm not calling them Nazis. I'm just saying if you had to pick a party that was closer to it, you go with the big government one.
Yeah, well, the Nazis would be very upset if they were aligned with the Democrats and we called them Democrats. You got this guy in Maine right now who has a Nazi tattoo on him, who's abused women, who's done all of this stuff. They tried to say that Kavanaugh's a choir boy, and they tried to say that he was raping women gang rape style. And this guy was doing all of this stuff, and they're like, he's a good guy.
You can't make that up, Sean. You can't make that up. That's the hypocrisy. Yeah, he was the first in line to go and scream at Kavanaugh during his confirmations. But, look, I'm going to go to another caller. Sean, I always appreciate you, brother.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Let's see here. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? Pressing those buttons. What's happening? That's you, caller? Oh, they hung up. Doggone. Sean must have scared him. Beans-O-Matic, man, you are cracking me up. Go to rumble.com. Look at that chat, guys. I'm telling y'all. All right, we got a few more minutes left. Time is flying. Doggone. I wanted to cover that L.A. mayor race again, man. So apparently they're having some issues over there, counting some votes. New York Times is reporting that it's still far from settled over there. This is just the primary. The election was days ago. And L.A. still counting votes. Okay, all right. But the race itself is what's fascinating. Very fascinating. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass, for example, a Democrat, she sits in front. 35% is my understanding where she's at. But sitting in second and in a strong position is Spencer Pratt, a reality television personality. It's very LA-like, very California-like. Hey, whatever. He's a Republican. Used to be a Democrat, my understanding. But then he saw Democrat policies come into play. Running competitively, by the way, in Los Angeles. So that's something. But think about how remarkable that is. Let's just think about that just for a moment. Los Angeles may be the most famous Democrat-run city in America. I mean, when people think of progressive government, you should think Los Angeles. And yet a Republican finished election night, second place, but not just tripping in there, pretty strong. And fighting for a spot in the November runoff in that race is pretty good. I mean, this is an incumbent Democrat. 35%. The New York Times noted that progressive Democrat Raman, R-A-M-A-N, has been gaining ground. But look, this is very simple. Folks see leadership the most during crisis, I would imagine. But during those fires, I mean, and all the abuse and all the lack, it's about priorities. And quite frankly, if we keep this stuff up here, man, we might start venturing there. So we got to be careful. Let government do what government does. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today. Oh my goodness, be careful out there. May God bless you and be kind.